We finally have an update on Patrick Williams' injury status, as well as we're going to be going over some early free agency options for the Chicago Bulls. I'm your host, Joey Mercer. This is another episode of Bulls Digest, and before we get into it there today, just want to say that about 80% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure if you aren't subscribed to go down below, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and every single time we upload, you'll be able to stay up to date with our takes on the Chicago Bulls and all the news you need to know on them. So without further ado, let's get into the first topic at hand there today, and that is Patrick Williams' injury update. So we've heard, last thing we heard actually was he was in a boot. Not much was happening as far as progress with him getting back from an injury, but we've heard a little bit from Coach Billy Donovan, which is in the report that I'll be citing today, and let's get right into that one. It said Chicago Bulls provide latest Patrick Williams injury update. This was by Jack Simone of Yahoo Sports and Bulls Wire, and this one was just posted today. We can then see, it says, with the Chicago Bulls' lack of moves at the trade deadline, the team committed to winning. It will be all hands on deck in Chicago if they want to make the playoffs. But that's where the front office wants to be. So that's going to be the team's goal for the remainder of the year. But in order to effectively be competitive in the Eastern Conference playoff race, they need all of their guys on the floor. The Bulls have dealt with some serious injuries this season, and one of the biggest has been the absence of Patrick Williams, who is finally starting to figure things out before his injury. And I have to agree that he was starting to put things together on the defensive end, as well as putting up a few more points than we saw with him struggling in the early part of the season. Zach Lavine, of course, is the biggest injury to affect the Bulls right now, but they've still been a solid team without him. Without Patrick Williams, though, the Bulls oddly haven't been that good, and he has been a major piece to them. So that really shows that the Bulls still need him around when his contract ends this season. However, it will have to be for the right price. You don't want to overpay him, although he is quite essential to the team, believe it or not. Next thing we saw on this was head coach Billy Donovan recently provided an injury update, noting that Williams is slowly ramping things up. That was from Casey Johnson of NBC Sports Chicago. It says Patrick is doing the light, slow ramp up, Donovan said. Everything they do is going to be based on his pain and what he can tolerate. Quite honestly, there have been certain things where he's felt it. He's much better than he was. I think when this first happened, he was feeling it walking. He's beyond that right now. But they're going to be very, very careful in terms of how much they continue to push through, how much they pull back on him. He has responded really well and done well, but on some of the things he has done, he has felt it mildly, and they'll be cautious. Getting Williams back sooner rather than later would give the Bulls a huge boost, and once again, I mean, that's nothing that we can argue with, because the Bulls have been good with Patrick Williams in the lineup. He has made some mistakes early in the year, but he was really picking things up. Just like the article said, nothing for me to deny there. It's just hopefully he is back to things very soon. It looks like the timetable might be 2 or 3 weeks now, based on him slowly ramping things up. Hopefully he doesn't have any major setbacks, and we see Patrick Williams healthy and on the court once again. Now it leads us into the second topic there today, and that is early free agency targets. Now, I wasn't expecting reports to drop on this, but to surprise me, they were. And it was talking about some players the Bulls should target in free agency, and I think a lot of this had to do with the fact that we might be losing DeMar and Patrick Williams in free agency, of course, and the Bulls' needs, regardless if they're on the team or not. Now, this one started out from a report by Stephen Beslick of Sports Illustrated, saying report names Kelly Oubre and Mo Wagner as a potential free agents target for the Bulls. 2 players who can possibly help the Bulls next season. It's interesting to be hearing this this late in the year after the All-Star break, and it's a little bit too early for it to be free agency just yet, so I felt that it was interesting kind of bring this to you guys. It says the offseason may be a long way off, but the Chicago Bulls have some big decisions to make when it arrives. From deciding on the contract situations of veterans DeMar DeRozan and Andre Drummond, to picking a path for the franchise's young core, the team will have its work cut out for them. One area that the Bulls may address is their depth. While they have a solid starting lineup, injuries and lack of depth have plagued the team this season. This is where Kelly Oubre and Mo Wagner could come into play. And that is really true. I mean, both of those players very good for their teams this year. Mo Wagner has really helped out alongside Franz. I think the Magic will try to keep them together just because I think Franz likes having his brother on the team, and he's such a big part of the Orlando Magic team right now. But Kelly Oubre is definitely not certain in Philadelphia, and I could definitely see him joining the Bulls for sure. Now, if we did look into Mo Wagner, it says with Drummond's future in the Windy City up in the air, the Bulls' only reliable big will be veteran Nikola Vucevic. Unless Chicago pivots to a complete rebuild and hands minutes to young big men like Julian Phillips, who really is a small forward, he's not a big man, and Adamo Sanogo, the Bulls must address the center position. Mo Wagner could be a low-cost option for Chicago to consider. At 6'11", Wagner has shown potential as a stretch four and can provide much-needed depth at the center position. He is also only 26 years old, making him a young piece who can fit into the team's long-term plans if he performs well. Playing alongside established scorers like Zach Lavine and Vucevic could free him up for open looks and easy baskets. And once again, I really don't think that the Bulls will try to go after Wagner necessarily. I feel like he's going to stay in Orlando, and I also don't think Adama Sanogo is ready. He is the leading scorer for the G League team, the Windy City Bulls, but I just don't think that he's quite ready for the NBA level to be playing some serious minutes. And as far as Julian Phillips goes, once again, he's really a small forward. He's less than 200 pounds. He's not going to be playing the power forward position. I don't think. They might try something crazy, but I don't think it would be for a sustained amount of time enough to call him a big. But that does lead us into the next player that we are going to talk about, Kelly Oubre Jr. The Bulls' perimeter rotation sorely lacks size and length, things that Kelly Oubre Jr. can provide. Now playing in his 9th season, Oubre has somewhat settled down after bouncing around multiple teams early in his career. He is a versatile wing player who can defend multiple positions, something that the Bulls could greatly benefit from. And on top of that too, Kelly Oubre can create some shots. He sometimes chucks, but the versatility and the wingspan are the biggest things that I think are really great on Kelly Oubre. He is a solid player that can put up to 20 points a game for your team off the bench. The outside shot is still inconsistent, but Oubre has adapted to his role as a 4th or 5th option for the Philadelphia 76ers. He makes timely cuts and knows his touches don't take priority over the starts. His 7'3" wingspan gives him positional versatility too, Andy Bailey wrote in Bleacher Report. And that's really the thing that I would look at is the wingspan on him, the size on Kelly Oubre. I think he's a very solid player for the Bulls to acquire. Remember when he was on Charlotte, he was putting up about 20 points a game and then got injured, and now this is why he's on the 76ers on such a low deal. But I do believe that he still has some time in this league to be a solid player, and if the Bulls were to pick him up, I think he can make some real impact early on. This has been your host, Joey Mercer. I hope you enjoyed the episode there today. If you did, make sure to go down below, hit that like button, comment on the video. I want to hear from all you guys. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one. Sign out.